Wednesday, November the 2nd, 2022, I posted 3,758 to the Anachronisms blog. It's called, in all caps, Pick It Up and Move It Forward. There doesn't have to be an apocalyptic backstory, no end-of-the-world narrative at all. The genre of fantasy is about as serious a genre as one might encounter in the world of fiction. Whatever adaptation, and they have been multiply significant. Which characters held the control, whether the wives were androids, and when and how the audience is cognizant about anything of which the characters are unaware of. Is there any omniscience within the story? Are the Stepford wives cognizant? When and how and on what level are they relatable? How about when Glenn Close begins Stepfordizing the men? Do the ladies really have power? Does the addition of were they robots unable to play along each and all? No, this doesn't seem to be the case. And again, has Close provided new deep meaning in the switch of the role of the sex of the automatons from female to potentially male? What if Rose Byrne and Ted Danson played roles in this all-star, more serious, less campy, but funnier version? Does the time frame allow for the possibility that sees these actors work together before in the dystopian Damages? And why did I just pigeonhole Damages into this dystopian subgenre? Milk the fantasy, rewrap the bleak. Be Matthew Broderick nerdily in charge of the subservient wife fantasy of being able to control Nicole Kidman by the various methods vaguely referenced earlier. Close with some sort of feminist fantasy. This is not what we call the genre of fantasy, am I not right? I know there are android bleeps and bloops mixed throughout some of these individual plot lines, but what about the dragons of fantasy as they blobbily move from Ursula Le Guin to George R.R. Martin or Heinlein's? He was my favorite middle school. Maybe I'm thinking about how sci-fi turned so dark in the 1970s and 1980s. The optimism dissipated, then basically disappeared. All of this stuff, all of this relatively insignificant stuff is meaningful to me because of my very personal and precocious relationship with these writers' characters, my act of engaged reading at that young age, of so much of it strapped in with the endless optimism in the earlier bosses of science fiction, but it would take so many more years before I could ever begin to understand camp and its relation to this stuff. This is what I glom onto now, but what of it? Where do we find the optimism now? Now that I have created by opening it all up, expressing it so longingly and hopefully, just so.